Excited for a beautiful kit today. We have Barb here. Hi, Barb. Good morning. Let me see. I've got my YouTube comments, and now I need to pull my Facebook comments up too so I can see who's watching over there. So, hi, Sarah in Ohio. We have Ann here in Pennsylvania. Adrian's here in Texas. Good morning, Vicki and Mary and April. Mindy's here today, and Rachel. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are excited for the last Tuesday of the month. It is almost May, right? I can't believe it. I don't know where April went. It flew by in the blink of an eye. So we are excited for May around here. It means a new freebie that's going to be launched on Thursday, which Susan will be crafting with. So you can mark your calendars early to watch her at 10 o'clock on Thursday. So you can see that new freebie that's launching. And today, with the last Tuesday of the month, we have our card making kit to launch. If you saw our product reveal video, then you know, or maybe you saw your email, maybe you already got your order in this morning, raise your hand if that was you, then you know that the kit contents this month are really a fun theme, kind of an office vintage theme. We've got Typewriter, and then there's some cute little elements like binder clips and push pins, and also a calligraphy pen and a little ink jar. So some fun things. It's called Just Write Cardmaking Kit. Different ways to write a letter or a note, and you can feature those on your card projects. So we are going to craft together today. So I'm going to bring you by and show you just a little bit of what is in this month's kit, and I'll just kind of fly that by the screen so you can see. We've got the kit all packaged up in the pouch. It features this pouch sticker that kind of has some of the artwork on it that you can see, the typewriter, that ink bottle, and then the calligraphy pen, little binder clips down here. Heather Nichols designed this kit, and I think we're all in love. I showed you guys during our product reveal video something that we've been collecting at our house, and I came across this adorable Lego typewriter. So look at how cute this is. I shared this with you guys on Saturday. For those of you who love Legos, maybe this is something. Look at that the arm of the typewriter actually just moves. It has the start of a little story. That was a sticker that you could put at the top. It says, "Every big idea starts small." And I just thought this was so cute. So my oldest daughter likes to collect the floral themed Legos. And so this was in their floral collection because you have the flowers coming out of the top of the typewriter. So super cute. If you love Legos, maybe pick that up and keep it in your windowsill as a plant that doesn't need to be watered. I love those. Right?
Yes.
We also have some elements that are available outside of the kit. So add-ons, if you would like to purchase, we've got that cork background stamp for the cute little push pins. And then we have the die set for the sentiments that are in the kit. Additional packages of insiders, and then our cute little themed envelope seals. So there's a typewriter in there, and then another one that features the ink bottle with the calligraphy pen. So super, super cute. Good to see. Heather says they're a big Lego family. Do you have that set already, Heather, or is that a new one that you haven't seen before? Speaking of florals coming out of the typewriter, Jen was channeling that with this beautiful card. I love those florals that she put in the top of the typewriter. There's even a company around here that takes vintage typewriters and kind of clears out the insides of them and plants different succulents inside of them. Have you seen those?
That.
I know. I think they're so cute. They're at the farmer's market. So if you go this summer,
Yes.
they do different vintage things. So they have vintage cameras with florals in them, and it's just a fun look. So I loved that card. Then Heather was able to incorporate just about everything from this set onto this card. She's got the typewriter, the calligraphy pen. We have some ink splotches, the ink bottle, and the binder clips all set on this cute desktop that she put using the knock on wood background stamp to create that wood looking top. So I think that is really, really fun and cute. And then this one, a couple more I didn't have to share with you during the product reveal last week. This one, Emily Midlowski created How cute is that with her rainbow of push pins that are holding up her little yellow sticky notes onto the cork board that she created with that cork background stamp. So I think that turned out so, so cute. And then I decided to create a large scale card. So this card is actually a 5x7 card. And as I was searching around for inspiration, I found a wall of kind of decor that featured cork boards among these little patterned circles. So this was actually inspired by a room that someone had designed with a wall of kind of circle decor mixed in with cork boards that you could put like little ticket stubs or notes from friends, etc. on your little cork boards. So I thought that was a fun way to execute this on a Hello Friend card. And that is, again, a 5x7. So here's the look at kind of the size difference. So you can see A2 on the left and then the 5x7 on the right.
Cute. I love it.
Cute, cute. All right, next up, let's look at the card we're going to be making today, and then we're going to get to crafting together. So this is the card we're going to make today. I have not shared this anywhere yet, so this is your first peek at our live project, incorporating some fun things today. Mainly, my goal for this was to make an interactive card with this typewriter. So when you pull up on this cute little binder clip, it reveals another sentiment on that paper. It says, "Hello friend, you are just my type." And I'm going to show you how to easily do that. So I think I mentioned during the product reveal that the die for this typewriter cuts a slit into the typewriter right where the paper would be rolling around that, that little arm piece there. So it's super easy to do this. We just need to create a little stop on this piece of paper so that it doesn't pull all the way out of our card. So I'm excited to share this with you guys today. And something else I haven't yet shared on the live, I haven't actually had a chance to use it a lot myself, but I am going to be showing you this fun stencil. This is our Checkerboard rotating stencil. It might just look like some odd squares on a stencil, but we have designed this specifically to create a checkerboard when you rotate it around and blend it. So we are going to be using this today as well to create this fun card. So excited to share with you guys. Let's get started by blending our Just Write stencil. So this whole kit is kind of built around the elements that are created with this layering stencil. It is a 3-layer stencil. I'll bring it into frame here so you can see. It creates all the elements in this kit on one set of 6x6 layering stencils. So you have your typewriter in one corner, you have your little push pins up here, your binder clips, then you have your ink bottle and a couple of calligraphy pens. So all of those elements are in this stencil, and then once you're done blending, we have the dies that cut them out. So let's get started blending. I'm going to start with layer 1 here, and we'll tack this down. Okay. Ooh, I see a question. Where are the little hearts from that I used on my 5x7 card? That's a great question.
Do you want me to go look? Let me go see.
It's from a clear stamp, I believe.
Okay.
Pretty sure. I just can't remember which one. Maybe it's in the front of the box because I just used it to create this project. But all right, so as we're going to start blending, my first layer is going to be confetti cake. I'm going to use our Glassboard Buddy if you haven't seen this yet. It is magnetized on the bottom with some super strong magnets so that it sticks down to your work surface. It fits one of our ink pads perfectly. It also has a little kind of spout or notch cut into the side of it here so that if you want to use it to pour embellishments out, you can pour them easily right back into the jar. So also a funnel if you want to use it in that way. So let's go ahead and start blending. Confetti cake is a light teal color, so we might have to build our color up just a little bit on this first layer. If you don't want to as much kind of arm strength building up the layer of confetti cake, you could also use a lighter hand of blue raspberry. Blue raspberry is a companion color for confetti cake. Oh, thank you, Whitney. You found it. So this is, that's right, I used this clear set. So this is called Love Notes. It actually has little papers in it, so you can create the lined paper look with these little sheets of notebook paper. And then I used the XOXO and the heart, as well as these little hearts. That's where that came from. Thanks for finding that one, Whitney.
You're welcome.
Okay. Linda said, I need to get it all. Louise, you purchased 2 of the Glassboard Buddies and you're loving them. Good. We are loving ours here too. In fact, I think we need to get a few more up here. I think we have 5 glassboards in our craft room because we have about 5 workstations in here for crafting, and there are 3 of us that spread out.
So hard.
I know, we spread out easily, 3 of us on all 5 of the stations, and sometimes I'm just like, okay, I need a glassboard buddy at every station so I don't have to be looking around, because I love it too. Okay, still blending the confetti cake, building up that color. What did you guys do over the weekend? Anybody do anything fun? We had what I call a nothing weekend, which is, you know, we didn't have anywhere we had to be, which is very different coming off of volleyball season. Usually every weekend is filled with tournaments and gym time, and it was relaxing, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
The weather wasn't too bad
No,
either.
it was too cold to do much outside. I mean, not for the kids, but for me, I don't like to be cold. I have definitely turned into my mother in that way. I used to tease Mom about how, you know, she never wanted to be outside because it was always too cold. So give me about 80 degrees and
Absolutely.
I will
I'm
be
in
outside.
my parka until it's 75 and above.
Yes. Oh, everybody's asking if you had a nice getaway, Whitney.
I had such a good time. It was great. I went to the NFL draft at Lambeau Field, which was amazing. Super fun.
I watched on TV, so I was trying to spot you in the crowd. It was a big crowd.
It was a big crowd.
All right, so this layer then is going to be, this is layer 2, and we're going to do this one in Oyster. And Oyster is a little bit darker than you would maybe first expect. I'm going to see, look at that, there's already ink in my blender brush. So I'm actually just going to use this instead of getting more ink. Gonna blend this onto this layer, and then I'll peek underneath and see if it got dark enough before I pick up any more of that ink. How's it looking under there? Looking pretty good. I'll keep going with this.
April went to a little craft fair, she said.
Oh, fun. I love finding those.
I know. I can't wait for, spring to stop raining so that we get to those points. I feel like all those little pop-up shops and stuff.
And the farmer's market's going to open here. I think it opens maybe Memorial Day weekend, so not too much longer to wait for that. That's fun. I do love looking at other people's handcrafted goodies, seeing what all is out there.
Yes.
Okay. Let's pull this up and take a peek. I think that looks great. I'm gonna leave it as is with that layer. Oh, Barb says yay for the Packers. And Whitney, did you eat a brat?
Sure did. Yep, when in Rome, I had lots of cheese
and a lot
curds.
of cheese curds. Yes.
I came back like 10 pounds heavier because I was like, I'm going to eat all the cheese I want to eat. No hold bars there.
Yes.
It was great. Everything was fantastic. Everyone is so nice, too. I love...
All you Wisconsinites
yes!
were...
They were so sweet. And we stayed right on the river, so it was gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Okay, this final layer is going to be blue raspberry. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a companion color to Confetti Cake and just a little bit darker, so you don't have to kind of work so hard to build that color up. And I do want to get it a little bit darker than the Confetti Cake, so I'm using a little bit of heavier hand. Actually, let me grab here, I forgot, we're going to do the metal part different.
Yes.
So can I get some
what?
Post-it
yes,
removable
yeah.
labeling tape?
Let me grab
So I'm going to mask this area off. I already got a little bit of blue raspberry on there, but that's okay.
There's that.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I'm just going to mask this quickly while I do the blue raspberry on the rest of this stencil.
Sarah is asking, have we ever done a side-by-side crafting demo? Should I tell her about when I started at TE and we sent that picture to Mom? Like, who's this Taylor's? Who's this
Yes. Who created which card? Yeah,
yes.
we did send that to our mom and made her guess.
It was pretty easy, friends.
We have not done a side-by-side crafting video before, but there's a first for everything. So maybe for April Fool's Day next year.
Yes.
Oh.
I'll keep working at my skills.
All right, I am going to wash this just so we can clean it off before we do our paste layer here. So this is the same layer of the stencil, and those little, I don't know what you call them. I'm not well versed in typewriter vernacular, but those little keys that pop up right here, they're usually metal, and that's what pops up and makes the letter on the paper. So that I thought would be fun to do in a metallic lunar paste. So I'm going to pull out my silver lining, and there are probably some other parts you could do in this silver, but just to give you guys the idea and show it today, I'm just going to mask off one of these parts, and you can use your imagination on what other parts you might want to make look metallic. I suppose there are probably typewriters out there where those parts are gold too, so you could maybe have gold in there. That would be fun. Okay, so we're gonna just mask off that part of the typewriter. I have my little mini spatula that I'm gonna open this up. Now you might wonder what my lunar paste is wearing here. It's wearing a little skirt. But this is just a little bit of press and seal that once I've opened the container, we like to put that press and seal over the top before we screw the lid on. That keeps it really airtight and hopefully preserves our product even longer. So just a little tip if you want to try something like that as well. And I'm going to pull out some of this paste and just kind of set it on the paper right above here. I think that should be enough. Just in case, I'll leave it open for now. And then I'm going to take my media spatula, and we're just going to take that paste that I set there and pull it down over this part of the stencil. Just like that. Now if I have excess, I can scoop it right back into the jar. Put the little skirt on again. Okay, and then we can just screw that over the top. Okay. Let's clean these off.
Clean up.
Yes, it is cleaning time. Okay, now let's pull this off, see what it looks like. Ooh, I did just realize I'm gonna need this to dry before I can die cut it, but that's okay. I think we have a way we're gonna move on by the magic of television. Okay,
It's like the
peel
cooking
this off.
shows where voila!
Yes,
it
the
is
food
made.
is made and ready. It's coming out of the oven. All right, so let me get this up into the screen, and I'm going to hand this to you, Whitney,
Yes,
so maybe
let
you
me
can
clean
get
that.
that cleaned off. And then let me show you what that Lunar paste looks like on there. Kind of a fun little shimmery, shiny element. Now, something to be aware of is I did not put the silver paste over the keys because I want to be able to stamp those with the letters of the keys. And this paste is not transparent, so you cannot see through it. It is opaque, and if you were to put this over the keys, you wouldn't be able to see your letters. So if you haven't used the Lunar paste before, just know that you cannot see through it, so make sure you know that depending on what you want to be using it for. I'm going to get some of this adhesive off of here. Okay, that's all ready to use again. Now let's go ahead and we're going to put this in our Misty. I think maybe I'll wait just a little bit. I'll let it get a little more tacky. I was going to put it in the Misty and go ahead and do this stamping, but let's move on. I don't want to ruin it. You know how that goes. Just give it a little bit longer to dry. You don't have to blow on it. Okay. Are you going to blow on it?
I was really going to try it. By the magic of
Whitney's.
TV. It's going to happen. I'm going to get this thing going.
Whitney's over there blowing on it, trying to make it
dry fast.
Dry fast, yes. Okay, so we're going to use this checkerboard stencil next. And this, as I mentioned, is a really fun way to create a checkerboard. And if you want to create a checkerboard that is just one color plus whatever the color of your cardstock is, like black and white, you can do that by only rotating your stencil twice, which is what we're going to do today, because the checkerboard that I created is white, the color of my cardstock, plus oat milk. So that's what we're going to do. But the other cool thing about this is you can do a 4-colored checkerboard as well. So you could do a different color on your stencil every time you rotate it. I'm going to use the same color, and instead of, if you were to fill it in on every rotation, you would just end up with a background all the same. Now, we want the white box in between our colored boxes, so that means we're going to do one layer like this, and then we are going to turn it, instead of 90 degrees, we're going to turn it 180 degrees and fill in the remainder. So let me put some adhesive down here. I just have a scrap of paper. If you want to do an entire 6x6, that's the easiest way to do this, as an entire 6x6. But for this, I'm just going to do it on a smaller piece here. So I'm going to line that up just like this so that those boxes look this way. And we're going to tack that down. A little bit of teal tape. As I mentioned, I'm going to use oat milk. Oat milk is, I would say it's a grayish color with a tint of green. And you notice the green more, I think, when you stamp it than you do when you blend it. But just a little hint of that warm tone in there. I call it a warm brown, which is what I wanted for this because my card typewriters I consider to be a little vintage looking, and sometimes I want it to look aged, I guess. So that's why I chose this color. But mixed in with the vintage of the typewriter and the kind of retro trendy checkerboard, I thought was a fun little combo. Okay, so there's one checkerboard. As I mentioned, if you wanted to, you could turn it this way and then you're gonna fill in more of the checkerboard, or continue to turn it. Okay, so I started with it this way. Now we're gonna turn it 180 degrees, and we are gonna line this up so that we are filling in the opposite boxes, just like this. And if you do it on a, I would recommend the first time that you use this stencil, you should do it on a 6x6 piece of paper, because that will really help you line up the outer edge of the stencil and do the rotations without having to kind of look and think about how you're lining it up. This end got just a touch off. But then once you get used to kind of how the stencil is supposed to behave or work, you can do it on scraps. You can kind of do what I'm doing here and understand how to line it up without having the help of the outside edge of your 6x6 paper.
Guess what holiday is coming up on Thursday?
There's a holiday on Thursday? It's May Day!
Yes, it's one of our favorite holidays as children.
Oh no, Whitney. That
need to
adds
go
another
buy
thing
some?
to my week.
I know. Should we put them together tonight when we're hanging out with the kids?
Well, I don't have anything to put together tonight.
I don't either.
Okay, turns out I need to go to the dollar store because it's time for
Yes.
May Day. Who else? Anybody else celebrating May Day this week? I know it's it's kind of a geographical thing we found. Some communities do celebrate May Day and others have never heard of it.
Right.
So we have this conversation every year on May 1st, but my kids have always loved May Day, and if you're not familiar with it, essentially kids create little treat baskets, or a lot of them use like the solo cups with popcorn and all the candies in it. We usually go a little bit crazier and do something fun and crafty. But then you go and ring the doorbells of your friends, leave the May Day basket, and run.
Yes.
So they don't see you.
You made those adorable May baskets with the egg carton.
Oh,
do you remember
yes,
that? The
we did
pictures
that.
are on the website. I looked at them the other day and I was like, I need to do this.
Yes,
So
we still
cute.
have egg cartons. So if you want to do a special May Day basket, well, maybe if you're local to TE, because they're not going to get to you by May 1st.
That's true.
But
If you
yes.
have them on hand, it is a really fun idea. You made them very adorable.
It was fun. Okay, so we're going to cut this apart now. My checkerboard ended up with 3 layers, so I'm actually cutting one of them off of this little scrap that I have. And then I'm going to cut it down to 4 1/4. So I'm just kind of basing this off of my sample, knowing where to cut, but there's 4 1/4. Centered-ish. If I really wanted to center it, I could have done a better job, but there's a quick checkerboard. Now let's grab the Misty, and we're gonna stamp that background and finish that off with one of my favorite background stamps. This one is a more recent release for us. It's called Weathered Words, and I think it goes so well with kind of the vintage typewriter theme. So I have used this before and mentioned this, but I always like to mention, because these words have kind of a right side up and an upside down, to help me, I put the word top on the top. I just wrote that with permanent marker so that I know exactly which way is up. And sometimes it will help you. Other times you can just do it upside down and turn your paper. But if you're stamping it on, let's say, directly on your card base and you want to make sure that it's facing the right direction, then that can be helpful. So nothing bad is going to happen by writing on the cling mounted side of your stamp. Actually, I did this a little bit backwards, so let's go like this first. Then I like to see that I have put it on straight. I want my words to be straight in the background. That is oat milk cardstock that we're going to be stamping on. We'll press on there with the adhesive and then it picks my paper up exactly where I want it to be.
Ooh, Saturday is National, wait, let me see, Scrapbook Day, they said.
Oh, really? That's right. I forgot about National Scrapbook Day is in May, and then National Cardmaking Day, or World Cardmaking Day, is in October.
Yes. Get some crafty time in this weekend.
Yes. All right, so there's oat milk on oat milk cardstock. And then I'm going to take that oat milk ink one more time and we're going to blend in from the edges to give it a little bit more of that distressed look on the edges. A little bit heavier to start to see that edge.
Oat milk cardstock too? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Oat milk on oat milk. Got it.
Tone on tone, that's what I do.
I love it.
Okay, there we go. Then this piece is going to adhere down at the bottom. We can go ahead and just put that on and then we'll set this aside while we finish off our typewriter piece. And then we're going to get to the interactive part. There we go. We'll set that aside until we're ready to put our whole piece together. Whitney, I realized I am going to need some foam sticky strips.
Perfect.
If you could grab those. I don't need them right this second, but sometime in the near future to create that element of the interactive typewriter. Okay, so let's see. Did we... Oh, Whitney, you did so well. It's dry.
I know.
Okay, so we'll take that and we're going to place that inside our mini Misty here. I'm actually going to cut out the typewriter so we can fit it in there, and we'll stamp the keys. Okay. So this little clear set comes with the stencil. So it's got the QWERTY keys on it, and then you have a little label for your ink bottle and then some ink splotches as well. And we're going to place that down over those keys. I'm going to get my head right in there. I'm sorry if you get a nice view of my hair, but you want to look right over the top of that as you're placing it down to make sure that those letters are right in the right spot. Now, if you're not quite sure, another option for you, you could grab your, let's see, you could grab your clear Misty grid alignment panels. So we offer these at TE. You could place that down over the top. Let's just do it here together so you can see this. And this gives you something to stamp onto to make sure you're in the ballpark or close to where you want to be. I think that looks great. I'm happy with where those keys have landed. So I'm gonna take off my clear piece, which I can just wipe with a baby wipe. And then we can ink this and close the lid again to stamp it directly on our paper. Perfect. Super cute. Really brings the typewriter imagery together to have the letters on there. So, okay, we have that. Now, one other little element that I wanted to add to this that is going to take quite a bit of time to dry, but I wanted to show you guys is the crystal glaze. So my bottle is missing a label, but this is a Nuvo product and it creates a clear, glossy finish when it dries. And I thought it was really fun to just put this on the keys. And then when it dries, it has this, I don't know, more realistic appearance.
Yes.
And I thought that was fun. So again, this is going to take a while to dry. One other little tip is sometimes my bottle, if you guys have this, maybe you've had this issue before, but sometimes I get little bubbles. So a lot of times while I'm doing something like this, I will have a die pick next to me. So if I get a little bubble, I can just pop it and it doesn't dry with bubbles in it. So just a little tip to have a die pick nearby. I am barely pushing on this, so I'm really not squeezing at all. The material or the medium is just kind of coming out of the bottle on its own as I go from key to key. And then I want to make sure I'm not going to be able to use this one right now. I have another one that's dry that I can use for our project. But I want to make sure I get all of them done so then it's dry later and I can use it. Now, one thing that I didn't do that you should do is die cut this before you do the glossy piece. I think I can protect it with some typing paper when I send it through my die cut machine, but I would recommend having it die cut before you put the glossy accents on it. You don't want to mar any of that prettiness. There's always workarounds, but here's what that looks like. Gives it the added dimension, and when it dries, it'll dry even more clear. Let me see if I can show you my original one. If I get it to the light there, you can see all of the keys and the space bar shining.
It really adds something. I like it.
It does. Yeah, I think it's fun. Okay, so I have one here that has already been done. It's a little bit different color combination, so if you're noticing, this is a little darker than my original. I have this one, but it is dry and ready to use, so we're gonna use this one. As I mentioned, the die that cuts out the typewriter, it actually cuts a slit into your typewriter where the paper can go into. So that's how I decided to create the element that is interactive that allows you to pull up. So I have this paper that's sized at, you might want to take some notes here just in case, sized at 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And there is no like perfect size. Could you use a different size? Yes, you could. I'm just giving you what worked well for me. I am going to take and measure next. So what we need to create, and if I could show you the insides of this card, what you would see is the bottom of this paper has a little bump out at the bottom. So a little kind of ledge so that when you pull the paper up, we have some foam tape here that's blocking that ledge from pulling the paper out all the way. I think you'll see what I mean when we get going here, but I am going to take this and I'm going to measure 1/2 inch up from the bottom on each side, and I'm going to make a little pencil mark. So 1/2 inch up on this side, little pencil mark, and 1/2 inch up on this side, little pencil mark. Okay, now we are going to take and grab our paper trimmer. So right now this is 2 1/4, and I am going to be cutting it down to 2 inches. So off of each edge, I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off of each end, but I'm only going to cut to that little pencil mark. So we're not going to cut a full 1/8 inch off of each side because we want that little, I don't know, I call it a nub, I guess, on the bottom. So we're going to cut a little bit off of each side, about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so I cut all the way down to that pencil mark, and now I'm going to do the same on this side. This time I'm going to put my blade down from the bottom and up to the top with about 1/8 of an inch.
Angie says she feels like your use of typing paper is well placed.
It's very appropriate today, isn't it?
Yes.
Finally. Finally.
It's your time to shine.
It is. Okay, now I'm just trimming that on that pencil mark that we made, trimming that little piece out so it looks almost like a little hat here at the bottom. See how that works? Now when we're going to place our foam tape right along the edge of our little typewriter on the back side, so that when you pull this up, this little ledge is going to get caught on the foam tape, but it's going to allow the rest of our paper to travel up and down, just not to pull out completely. Hopefully that makes sense, what I'm verbally saying, but now I'm going to show you. I do want to round the corners of the top of my paper, so I'm going to grab my little corner rounder punch, and I used the medium size here. So we'll go ahead and put those corners in, and that's going to be the top of my paper. And I want to give it a little bit of a blend, give it a little touch of that oat milk across the top. For that added dimension. It's pretty rare that I don't put some kind of blend on my paper before I use it. Okay, so there's that paper with our little ledge along the bottom. Now let's take and insert that into our typewriter. Just like this. So when this paper gets pulled out of the typewriter, we want to have foam tape along the side here that's going to prevent that from moving all the way out. Because see, it still does come all the way out unless we have that little bit of something there that's blocking it. So let's go ahead and build the exterior edge around this. I'm going to use our foam sticky strips. These are already pre-cut for you. They're 1/8 of an inch, and they are 1/8 of an inch wide and 1/8 of an inch thick, which makes them the perfect kind of thickness for these interactive elements that you still want them to be able to move. So we're going to place our foam tape along the edge. It's important that this first layer of foam tape still allows your entire piece of paper to move. The one that we want to block these little ledges is going to be placed just here at the top. So right now we're only building kind of the outer wall. Okay. This one at the bottom is going to stop the paper from going down any farther than what we want. Okay. And then we'll come up this side. Just like that. So we kind of have a ledge built around the outside. So our paper won't go through the bottom. It will still go through the top until we put those other pieces in there. So we do need a stabilizing piece of foam. So we'll do that here. Okay. And this foam, this piece is on the kind of arm, so the paper doesn't travel on that part, so no worries about blocking anything there. Now let's take a couple of my smaller pieces here, and I'm going to show you building this area then. Actually, I think I want to do my stamping before I block my paper in. So let's do our stamping of our sentiment before we block our paper in. I'm going to grab my sentiment set, which is called Inked Expressions.
Do you need a clear block?
You know what? I could, but I think I can do it with the Misty.
Okay, perfect.
I know a lot of others are more comfortable with their Misty, so I will bring that back in and continue to show that. This time I don't need the black piece. And we're done with our keyboard keys. Okay. Now some kind of helpful tips here. We want to put our hello friend on the visible part of the paper, and then when people pull the paper up, they're going to reveal the second part of the sentiment, which I used, hello friend, you are just my type. So with the paper all the way pushed into the bottom of your foam tape here, I'm going to put just a really light pencil mark so that I can visualize where that is going to cut off my sentiment. So I want my hello friend to be above my pencil mark, and then the you are just my type to be right below the pencil mark. Make sense? So let's take this out now. We'll put it down here in the Misty. And then I've got hello friend first. And again, there is my, if you probably can't see it on screen, but here is my pencil mark. So I'm kind of centering the hello friend left to right and in that open space here. Turn it over, make sure that I've got it straight on there. I don't want to mess this part up, so let's grab our clear pad again. And we'll put that down. I'm starting to lose things because my desk is messy. I saw someone mention earlier that I keep such a neat desk. Oh, you should come craft with me. All right, that looks good right where it's at. So we'll leave that there and stamp it right onto the paper. Okay, now let's move our magnet up. There's my line. Again, I want the you are just my type to fall below that line. So we're going to grab that one. Take this one off here and set it kind of right underneath that line. So they don't have to pull up too far to find that hidden sentiment. And it looks pretty good and straight to me, but let's go ahead and throw this on there just to see. Perfect, looks good. Okay, then we've used this, the marking as much as we need to, so I'm just going to erase that little pencil mark off of each side. And I like to test my eraser before I put it on my nice paper to make sure it's not going to leave one of those smudgies. Okay, so there's our little paper. Now let's put that back into the typewriter. We're going to put it right through that slit here. When the paper is pushed all the way to the bottom of our foam tape, you should be able to see the hello friend. And then when you pull it up, there's the "You are just my type." So now all we need to do is build that little kind of piece of foam tape here that's going to keep the ledge from pulling out of the slit. So we're going to grab a piece of this foam tape and place it right here, right along the left side of that paper. It doesn't really matter how long. I mean, it does matter how long it is because that is where it's going to catch the ledge, but you definitely don't want it to go all the way down. Let's make sure when we pull this up that when it catches on that little piece there, you can still see the sentiments that I stamped. So we want this one to be the same size, so it catches in the same spot on the other side. So we'll go ahead and snip that off and then position this where we want it to slide up. And then there's our other side here. Just like that. So then as you're pulling this, that little ledge that we created, it catches on the foam tape that we just put down. So it's going to catch at the bottom, so you can't push it too far in and you can't pull it too far out. It creates a space for it to be. All right, so that is ready now to put our card together. We're gonna go ahead and adhere this little frame. I cut this out prior to the live using our A2 thin frame cutting plate and some sugar cube cardstock. I thought it just brought everything in a little bit farther, a little bit more centered. So we'll go ahead and add a little bit of liquid glue around the outside. Dot, dot, dot is a lot. Keep telling myself, don't squeeze too hard. Sometimes I get in a hurry and I think I get annoyed that I have to squeeze harder, but then I squeeze too hard. Okay. So we're going to center this with a little bit of space around the edges. And then our typewriter element can go down. One of the things I think, well, I'm not running out of time too much, but one of the things I did on this project that I think I'll skip, but you could do, is a little bit of splattering. So I use the Dr. Martin Black Star splatter, and I put that on the oat milk layer, but it just gives a little something extra. So if you wanted to try that, you could. I'm going to leave it off of this one. This is going to be my clean version. And we can go ahead and peel the backing paper off of the parts here. Just make sure when you're adhering this down that your paper doesn't shift back here and somehow get adhered onto one of these. I'm going to center that there. Before I really press it into place, I'll make sure my little element is doing its thing here. Looks good. Okay, then we can really press that into place. Now we want our recipient to know that they should pull this, and so we've got some ways to do that. I thought it would be fun to incorporate the little binder clip. I have one from the set that I blended earlier, and I'm going to stamp a little stamp on it that says pull here, and we're just going to stamp that right onto the binder clip. grab the Misty one more time with my black piece here. And hopefully that keeps it in place. Sometimes I think acrylic block is easier for this particular size of stamp, but I've gone this far with my Misty, so we're gonna just keep going. Versafine Clair, Nocturne ink. Ink that and press. Okay, perfect. So we have that little element created. And to give it a little bit of stability, I like to adhere another one directly on the back of it. So we can actually kind of sandwich it in between the paper and put one on the front and one on the back. You wouldn't have to, I have one that's blended here, but you could just cut it out of plain white paper so you're not wasting a nice blended one. So we'll go ahead and adhere this that says pull here. And then I'll put adhesive on this side of this one, and that gives the binder clip just that little bit of added stability, and we can adhere that to the back side here. Just like that. There it is. Cute. Ta-da! You made an interactive card. Now we just need a card base and we'll be done. So I made this full card base size, and I'm just going to adhere it onto a sugar cube base. So pretty simple there. You could make the whole card on oat milk if you wanted to as well. One of our insiders panels would look really nice with this as well. So there you go.
Cute, I love it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in today. So, all right, let me come back here and give you a little rundown of what's coming the rest of this week. So Thursday, as I mentioned, Susan will be live. It will be May 1st, and she's going to be debuting our new freebie that launches May 1st. So hope you check that out. And also a little note, if you're into watching more Taylor today, I'm going to be live at, I believe it's 1:30 Central Time for Scrapbooking Cards Today. I am part of their Lunch and Learn series today, so we're going to be creating a fun project with some Tailored Expressions products, and you can catch me there. So yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And I might see you on Thursday with Susan. If I don't, I'll see you on Saturday for our product reveal, or next week, Tuesday, for the live.